ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये।
ततो जयमुदीरये।
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भगवत्सेवया
भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके
भगवतीतमाश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुवैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादा सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधाकांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, sixth chapter, text number 19 to 25. 19. मेध्रं तस्य विनिर्भिन्नं मेध्रं तस्य विनिर्भिन्नं मेध्रं तस्य विनिर्भिन्नं स्वदिष्णयं 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 का उपाविशात् स्वदिष्णं का उपाविशात् स्वदिष्णं का उपाविशत् रेतसां शेना येनासो रेतनांशेन येनासो रेत अंशेन येनासो रेतसांशेन येनासो आनंदम आनंदम प्रतिपद्यते आनंदम प्रतिपद्यते मेध्रं तस्य विनिर्भिन्नम् स्वदिष्णं का उपाविशात् रेतसां सेन येनासो आनंदं प्रतिपद्यते
Vedrantasya vinirvinam Swadhishnam ka upavishat Vetasam shena yinasa Anandam pratipadyate.
Medram tasya vinirvinam.
Medram tasya vinirvinam.
Svajishnyam ka upavisat.
Pradishyam upavishat.
Vitashe samsena yenase. Yenasam. Retasam tena yenaso. Anandam pratipadyate.
Anandam pratipadyate. Medram tasya vinirvinam.
Medram tasya vinirvinam.
Svadhisnyam ka upavishat.
Svajishnyam ka upavishat.
Vetasam sena yenasam.
Retasam tena yenaso.
Anandam pratipadyate.
Anandam pratipadyate.
Vedram tasya vinirvinam.
Vedam tasya nirvinam.
Svatishnyan ka upavishat.
Svajishnyam ka upavishat.
Ritasam shena yena so.
Retasam tena yenaso.
Ananda pratipajate.
Anandam pratipadyate.
Would anyone online like to chant the verse?
Translation. When the genitals of the gigantic form separately manifest, then Prajapati, the original living creatures, entered into them with his partial semen, and thus the living entities can enjoy sex pleasure. I'll read next verses by myself. Gudam pumso vinirvinnam mitralokeshu avishat payum sena yena so vishargam pratipadyate. Translation. The evacuating channels separately manifest, and the director named Mitra entered into it with partial organ of evacuation. Thus, the living entity are able to pass stools and urine. Hasto asya vinirvinnau indra swarpatir avishat vartayam sena purusha yaya virtim prapadyate. Translation. Thereafter, when the hands of the gigantic form separately manifested, Indra, the ruler of the heavenly planet, entered into them. And thus the living entity is able to transact business for his livelihood. पादयोस्य विनिर्भिन्नौ लोकेषु विष्णुराविशात् गत्यसंशयेन पुरुषो यया प्राप्य प्रपद्यते. Translation. Thereafter, the legs of the gigantic form separately became manifest. And demigod named Vishnu, not the personality of Godhead, entered with partial movement. This helped the living entity move to his destination. बुद्धिं चास्य विनिर्भिन्नं वाग् ईशो दिश्यणियाविशात् बोधयं शेन बोद्धव्यं प्रतिपत्तिर्यतो भवेत्. Translation. When the intelligence of the gigantic form separately became manifest, Brahma, the lord of the Vedas, entered into it with a partial power of understanding. And thus an object of understanding is experienced by the living entities. 24. हृदयं चास्य निर्भिन्नं चन्द्रमा दिश्यम् आविशात् मानसं सेन येनासो विक्रियं प्रतिपद्यते. Translation. After that, the heart of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, and into it entered the moon demigod with partial mental activities. Thus, the living entity can conduct his mental speculations. आत्मनां चास्य निर्भिन्नम् अभिमानो अभिषात्पदं कर्मणां शेन येनासो कर्तव्यं प्रतिपद्यते. Translation. Thereafter, the materialistic ego of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, and into it entered Rudra, the controller of false ego, with his own partial activities, by which the living entity transact his objective actions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. The false ego of the materialistic identity is controlled by the demigod Rudra, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Rudra is the incarnation of Supreme Lord who controls the modes of ignorance within material nature. The activities of the false ego are based on the objective of the body and mind. Most persons conducted by the false ego are controlled by Lord Shiva. When one reaches a finer version of ignorance, he falsely thinks of himself as the Supreme Lord. That egoistic conviction of the conditioned soul is the last snare of the illusory energy, which controls the entire material world. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं यदायते गिरिं पावनं वन्दे श्री गुरुं दीनतारिणे परमानंद माधव. So these are very interesting verses from the third canto, and this Virat Rupa description comes at multiple places. It comes in Bhagavad Gita, it comes in second canto, it comes in third canto, it also comes in eighth canto. So this, why we as a Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we as a follower of Srila Prabhupada who wants to meditate on Radha Krishna, that's our ultimate goal. Why these detailed description of Virat Rupa is given and we are supposed to be studying them in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So if we see the essence of the whole Krishna consciousness, Rupa Goswami explains in 2 lines. He says, Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyam na jatuchit. So it says that the essence of all the practices what we perform from morning to evening is underlined into these 2 statements. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu. Smartavyam means remembering. Satatam means always. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Krishna also explained this word many times in Bhagavad Gita. So always remembering Krishna. So that is our determination, that I should do this. Always remembering Krishna. And something I should not do. Vismartavyam na jatuchit. We should never forget Krishna. Always remembering Krishna and never forgetting Krishna. The whole design what Srila Prabhupada gives is centered around these 2 statements. There's the essence of whole Krishna consciousness. So we, in a conditioned state, yes, description of Krishna's pastimes, description of Krishna's beautiful form, Krishna's name, everything are there. But we as a conditioned soul, is difficult for us to relate with that transcendental reality in our own conditioned state. So it's easy to remember something which is relatable to us. It is, we can think, we can remember, we can contemplate something which is in our dimensions. In the Virat Rupa description is aiming toward that. Is aiming toward that in making us realize that how Krishna is everywhere in this creation. So from that standpoint, if we see, that's where description of Virat Rupa becomes so important, that we can meditate in these verses, we can understand in our day-to-day activity that how the Lord is relating to us, connected to us in our own physical plane. So having said that, it says here the different aspects, that is one aspect. The second aspect, why the Krishna manifests himself as Virat Rupa, that is for us. Okay, we can meditate on him and we can think of him. Krishna says, I'm the taste of water, I'm the Himalayan among all the mountains. So what is Krishna's point of view? Why Krishna is manifesting as Virat Rupa? So we as a spirit soul is incompatible to live in this material world. We being a spirit soul can't really interact with this material world because we are spiritual in nature. This is material world. So for us to facilitate that experience of this material world, and this experience word comes many times in these verses. Pratipadyate, prapadyate. So this is to give us experience of this world. The whole these verses is full of this experience. So for us as a spirit soul to be able to experience this world, we need an interface. And that interface is created by the Lord Himself as a Virat. If you see the genitals of the Lord is manifesting, and the demigod Prajapati is finding his sitting place. So where is Prajapati getting his power to procreate? It's from genitals of the Virat. So Prajapati may be there, but if there is no portion which is connected to Virat Rupa, which is source of all the energies, Prajapati can't do anything. And which gives us the pleasure of sex pleasure, sex enjoyment. And then the next verse, the 20th verse says, the evacuating channel became manifest. And who sits there? Director Mitra sits there. He's a demigod, one of the demigod. So unless Mitra sits there in the evacuating channel of Virat Rupa, he cannot enable us to evacuate. We will not be able to evacuate. And if we don't evacuate, what will happen? All the toxic of the body will keep on accumulating. Constipation. According to Ayurveda, 90% of disease develops from constipation. So, and we'll have constipation, we'll not be able to evacuate. It's because of mercy of the Lord that we are able to function in this world. So what we can understand is, it is Krishna's compassion. He is manifesting as a Virat Rupa so that we can experience this world. So another place in the second canto, 6th chapter, it was said that the Mitra is known as Mitra, friend. He's a friend of all the living entities. He's helping us. And it was said in second canto that in the evacuating place of the Virat Rupa, envy, hatred, death, hell exist. So envy sits there in terms of emotions. Envy sits there, hatred sits there, death sits there, hell sits there. So similarly, like if we don't evacuate, we'll have constipation. Similarly, we may also have spiritual constipation. What is spiritual constipation? When we get stuck with the enviousness, when we get stuck with hatred, when we get stuck with that kind of hellish mentality, that is where the soul's energy gets stuck and we get spiritual constipation. So we need the laxative of appreciation, forgiveness, these kind of things to be able to release that. And what happens once we release us, when we clear our stomach? Feel so relieved. The process is a little painful. You have to prepare for that. But once it comes out, feel so relieved. You are ready for next level of eating, next meal. Similarly, when we get stuck with enviousness, we can't really experience life. So by appreciating, by forgiving other person who is envious towards us, we can forgive that person. Whom we are envious toward, we can appreciate. So by that we can let go of that and we can be ready for the next experience of life. So that is a function of Director Mitra. The next verse says, the hands manifest of the Virat Rupa, and then comes Indra.
That's funny.
And Indra is gaining power because he's sitting in the hands of Virat Rupa. And from there, our transaction abilities comes into the place. So our hands, in that way, everything we do with the hands. The mind creates, the brain guides, but to whom? Unless we have the mind can be compared to the strategic planning committee. But if executors are not there, the planning is of no use. So hence executes. Similarly, if you say the living entity is able to transact business for his livelihood, we can earn from our hands. Whatever skills we have, we can use that. So it is because of mercy of the gigantic form of the Lord that and even interestingly, if you see, Krishna is manifesting his hands so that we can function in this world. He loves us that much. But his love goes to next level when Jaya Vijaya in the Vaikuntha. At that point of time, four Kumaras came and four Kumara cursed Jaya Vijaya. At that time, there was one statement what Narayana makes in the Vaikuntha. What does he say? He says, even if these hands were to raise to my devotees, I would better cut these hands.
Is it what?
If these hands were to raise on my devotees, I would better cut these hands.
Raise on my devotee?
Means if they go and attack my devotees. Raise means if I slap or hit them, things like that. If these hands try to harm my devotees.
That's with giant Vijay, that he was saying, oh, yeah, rather than offend devotees like the Kumaras, may my right arm be lopped off.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
graphic verses from Vishnu.
Yes, from Vishnu.
Yeah.
So see how much compassion he has, that he is ready to give up his own hand to protect devotees, and he is ready to manifest his hand to give something to his devotees. That was about the hand. Then it goes on to say the legs. The legs manifest the Vishnu, not the personality of Godhead, the Krishna's expansion, that is different Vishnu here. He manifests, enter into with partial movement. This helps the living entity move to his destination. So every time we are moving, we can always remember, oh, it is because of Krishna I am able to move. I am able to do what I am doing is because of Krishna. I am able to raise my hands. The ability to raise my hands, the ability to move is coming from the Lord. Then it says the intelligence, the Virat Rupa's intelligence get manifested, and there sits Brahma, and because of that we can experience the object of understanding. So any understanding I am able to have of anything is because of intelligence. And it is said that Mahat Tattva, when it touched by the mode of passion, then intelligence manifest. So when Mahat Tattva touched by mode of ignorance, false ego get manifested. When Mahat Tattva touched by mode of passion, intelligence get manifested. And when Mahat Tattva touched by mode of goodness, mind get manifested. So the intelligence is the root of any creation. Without intelligence, we can't perform any action. We may have hands, we may have legs, but the success formula for anything is intelligence. Those ideas, those discoveries. So this is coming from where? Krishna says, Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanucha. In the 15th chapter, 15th verse of Bhagavad Gita. That intelligence is coming from me. The success ingredient, the basic success ingredient is coming from Krishna. And Brahma, because of the intelligence which he got from Krishna, from Vishnu, he was able to create the whole material world. How could Brahma do that? Because he is deriving intelligence from the Krishna. And we want to create something in this world. But something, the biggest creation on this material world is already been created. This universe. We can't create something bigger than this universe. It is already inside that universe, we can create whatever we want to create. So Brahma says, my dear Lord, please bless me so that while performing this duty of creation, I should not get carried away by this pride. Brahma is saying to Vishnu. So when he is saying, and he has done the highest of creation, we can do any creation inside that creation, how we become proud when we create something. So by this we can understand that the intelligence is coming from Krishna. That is one thing. Also, not only intelligence to create something in this world, but also the intelligence to create the spiritual life also comes from Krishna. Like Brahma, he's the head of our sampradaya. Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Brahma is not only creating this material universe, having that kind of intelligence, he is also receiving the knowledge of creating our spiritual life. That is by Shastras, by knowledge, which Krishna gave to Brahmaji. And we have so many Brahmajis represented, all the saints, all the sages. It was given in second canto again that all the saints, sages, gurus, they're all representing Krishna's intelligence. So instead of becoming proud, we should become humble. Instead of seeing that, instead of becoming enviousness of somebody else's intelligence, we should appreciate that because it is coming from Krishna. So in the 12th canto, it was said, anything, any aspect of Krishna we meditate upon, we get to share that opulence. So if you are meditating on Krishna's intelligence, we'll become intelligent. So by appreciating a devotee's intelligence, we get to get that intelligence. So instead of becoming envy, we should appreciate. By appreciating, we get. So that is also we can understand. And also whenever we get some guide, we get stuck somewhere, we need guidance, we need knowledge, we need intelligence to move from there. It comes from guides, mentors, and things like that. All these personalities, we should know that it is coming from Krishna. This guidance has come through this person from Krishna and he's become a channel through. For give it to him. Give it to me. So that is another thing we can understand about intelligence here. 24th verse says, this is very interesting, that now comes the moon. Now comes the mind. And what is mind? Krishna's heart get created, and from that heart enter into the moon demigod. And the moon is the most flickering planet. And because of its flickering nature, it rules the most flickering element in this creation, which is mind.
Easy to understand.
So it goes to cycle of 14 days waning, 14 days waxing, 14 days waning, 40 days waxing. So that is why he's been given the power of mental speculation. We decide something, we change something, again we decide on that thing, again we keep changing it keeps shifting. So the mind is always flickering, always going up and down, up and down, up and down, because it is ruled by moon. Waxing and waning. Waxing and waning, waxing and waning. The way our moon, we keep moon keep waxing and waning, our mind also keep waxing and waning. Mood swings. So it is because of connected to moon. So now what is the remedy for that? The remedy is there in this verse. What is the remedy to make our mind fix? To make our mind fixed up, determined. So here again in the 8th canto, again description of Virat Rupa, it was given that in the heart of Murari, Krishna, Virat Rupa, Dharma was sitting. Dharma was sitting in the heart of Murari. What is Dharma? So there is something which is in the heart of Krishna. So what is in the heart of Krishna? That is dharma. Dharma means the thing which we should do and dharma which we should not do. Do something, don't do something. So now again, if mind get fixed in the heart of Krishna, initially that is in the heart of dharma, then we can remedify the mind of not going through that flux. So means if we fixed on to the principles, regulations given by Srila Prabhupada in his teachings, what we should do, what we should not do, although mind is disturbing us, carrying us away from so many different things, the fixation on the dharmic principles, fixation for us, Srila Prabhupada teachings can only help us remedifying that flickering nature of mind. And also because dharma is coming from Krishna's heart. So if we ride on the plane of dharma, it will take us back to Krishna's heart. Like how if you it's or not only that, I have to control my mind, I have to just do this. Sadhana bhakti is very difficult to perform initially. Rules, regulations, getting up in the morning, chanting, and so tedious. So let's say you are sitting in a car, which is the road is very bumpy initially, up and down. But the road is going somewhere very, very special destination. Where that road of sadhana bhakti is taking us to raganuga bhakti, to bhava bhakti, to prema bhakti. What is prema bhakti? Entering into the heart of Krishna. So dharma comes from Krishna's heart, and dharma can take us back to Krishna's heart. So that's how we can understand the remedy of mental speculation, the remedy of flickering mind is focusing on the heart of Krishna. And what is in the heart of Krishna? Compassion. Because Virat Rupa is manifesting only because of compassion. So now there is another formula. If we meditate on the compassion of Krishna, which is a seed for the dharmic principles to come up, then it will be easier for us to follow those dharmic principles. So these principles we are following because it is coming from Krishna's heart. And why is Krishna giving these principles? Because he loves us. Because he wants us back. He wants us to come back to him. If we just meditate how much Krishna has given me, how much Krishna is taking care of me, what all arrangement Krishna has made for me to start receiving these knowledge, if we just meditate on these points and we can somehow connect to the compassion of the Lord, that compassion, that touch of Krishna's compassion will motivate us to go in the path of dharma. So in that way, even from the beginning itself, we can start experiencing what is our destination. So that is another thing coming from this verse. In 25th verse, now Krishna talks about destruction. Because if you see, the materialistic ego of the gigantic form of the Virat Rupa, coming from where? Coming from who is sitting there now? Now Rudra is sitting there. Shiva. Rudra is sitting there. And it is what is Shiva doing? Shiva is giving us false ego. With his own partial activities by which the living entity can transact his objective action. Transact his objective action. Objective action means very specifically what you want to achieve. I want to achieve this. No, why not this? I want to achieve this because I want to become that. I want to have the wealth. That is what I want to achieve. That objective. Because I want to become wealthy person. That ability to become something is coming from Shiva. It is coming from false ego. That is ego which is giving us. So interestingly, we see, if we break down our subtle body, it can have different slices, different atoms. If let's say our body is made up of these cells physically, our subtle body is also made up of subtle cells. And each cell has element of mind, element of intelligence, element of ego. Very specific ego. I am a powerful person. I'm a beautiful person. I'm a rich person. I'm a controller. I can, so all these different ideas, what you can become from so many millions of lifetime, they have accumulated and they become like forming our entire chitta, the 25th material element in Sankhya philosophy, the contaminated consciousness. So these, each element, the each atom in the subtle body is made up of its own, like our body, mind coming from Mahatattva, small chunk of Mahatattva. Similarly, even this inside us, that Mahatattva, that subtle body Mahatattva, is breaking down again into those cells. So when we are speaking to my daughter, let's say I'm speaking to my friend, I would behave the way friend should behave. When I speak to a doctor, I should behave like a patient, automatically become like a patient. When I speak to my mother, I become like a son. When I speak to my some other old friend, I become that. So different part of my personality get activated with each and every cell. Like different slices, you can just big chunk and you can make different slices, compartment in that way. Inside our subtle body. So that particular objective action can be performed only when we activate that particular being. The moment we activate that particular being, it's become easier for us to achieve that objective. Where it is coming from? Transact is objective action. That to achieve something objectively, you have to have that objective ego with us. Yes. Become that and have that. So that is coming from Lord Shiva. Interestingly, the function of Lord Shiva in this world is to destroy. There's a lot of destruction. And Shiva is one of the topmost demigod. So why the topmost demigod has been given something to destroy? He should be doing something more pleasant activity because he's topmost demigod. He should be doing something auspicious. Why is he engaged in some destruction work? Isn't it? The reason being, this destruction actually brings auspiciousness. The destruction of our ego brings real auspiciousness. Because we feel that if we remove that, the disconnection between us and Krishna is only this misidentification. Nothing else. It starts from that. That I'm separate, Krishna is separate, and I have to take care of my own self. So as soon as the part get disconnected from the whole, it becomes incomplete. And the moment it becomes incomplete, the powerlessness comes. The insecurity comes. Because now I have to take care of myself. I'm not the part of the whole now. So the moment that independency comes, that insecurity, that powerlessness comes. And when you become insecure and powerless, you want to achieve something to make you complete. And once you don't do that, you become angry. Isn't it? When you feel powerless, you feel very angry. When you become insecure, something is being taken away from me, you become very angry. The root of that anger is coming from the false ego. That is why anger is in the mode of ignorance. Anger is in mode of ignorance because it is connected to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva shows anger, become angry. So what is the way, what is the remedy to destroy the false ego? Sankirtan, yes. Yes. Yeah, so actually it is an answer. And if you see the word which comes in connected to the false ego, it comes Ahanta and Mamanta. Ahanta, Ahankara. Me, Ahanta, me, I am something and I have something. Mamanta, mine. So I am something and I have something. I am this body and this body has a lot of resources, assets, people around us, relationships. The root cause of pain is this Ahanta and Mamanta. So how do we change that? Ahanta means I am this body, I am something. Then this surrender means I am Krishna's. I am Krishna's. Because I am Krishna's part and parcel. I am Krishna's. I am not something. I am something in a greater sense, but I am Krishna's. And Mamanta means that I have something. And what do I have? Krishna is mine. I am Krishna's and Krishna is mine. There's a relationship between devotee and Krishna. He gives himself to his devotees. So by having Krishna, we have everything because Krishna, it is his everything in that way. So still we can have everything. Still we can have whatever we want. Not that we would be deprived of whatever we want here in this world. But I have to surrender, I have to become Krishna means I don't have to have anything then. No. I am Krishna, then Krishna is mine. If we have this understanding, then automatically that what's happening in this is very painful to do. It's not easy. Very, very painful to do. The deeper and deeper and deeper layer when it being removed, it just becomes very angry. And anger is one such emotion which we have to come across to be able to go to Krishna. Krishna again says in 4th chapter 10th verse, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Man Maya Madhu Ashita. So by focusing on by removing these three emotions, many devotees have come back to me in the past. Krishna is saying in the 4th chapter. What is he saying? Raga, Krodha, Bhaya. Raga means attachment, Bhaya, fear, and Krodha. So as a devotee, we should be ready for that. It is going to come. So we'll be becoming angry, and that when we become angry, then actually we can even pray to Lord Shiva. We are controlling anger. Please destroy my false ego. Because if you see the name Shiva itself indicates something very interesting. There's a mantra they chant in India when we had recently visited Kedarnath, one of the Jyotirlinga, where Pandavas had visited and Pandavas established the Shiva became bull when the Pandavas were searching for Lord Shiva in the Kashi, and Shiva came to Gupt Kashi, that is in Uttarakhand, the northern part of India, and there Shiva became a bull. He wanted to hide himself from Pandavas. Bhima came to know. Bhima start pulling the tail of that bull and he break himself into 5 different body part, the bull. Like that's why there are 5 nathas. Like Kedarnath is one place where the hump of a bull was fallen. The place where the hands of that Shiva was fallen, there's a temple there. Where the face of Shiva was fallen, there's a temple there. They worship 5 Pancha Kedar, the 5 different aspects of Lord Shiva, they worship there. So Kedarnath is the hump of a bull, which is in the form of Jyotirlinga, and they worship this, still worship goes on. So there they chant the mantra Om Namaha Shivaya. If you break down this statement, Na Maha Shivaya. Shivaya means auspicious. Shivam Mithodya. In the 6th canto it comes. Shiva means auspiciousness. Auspicious. So Shiva is very auspicious. Why is Shiva very auspicious? Because Na Maha. Maha means mine. Na means negation. It means he has removed his complete false ego. Namaha means it is not mine. I have not done anything. The false ego is not there. The absence of false ego in Lord Shiva makes him auspicious. So when we don't have that ego, then we become auspicious. Our life becomes auspicious. So that anger, that the pain of removing these, delayering our false ego is going to make us auspicious. Is going to make life auspicious. Is going to make anybody who come in touch with me auspicious. So it is a direct. So destruction brings auspiciousness in that way. So we can pray to Lord Shiva, please bless me so that remove my false ego. I can. And you see Lord Shiva, he's a topmost demigod. What is he doing? Taking care of something which nobody want to take care, destruction. And he's taking care of the people who nobody want to take care. The ghost, the pisachas, all those, nobody want to receive worship from them. Somebody have to uplift them also. There has to be somebody who's uplifting them. So Lord Shiva is uplifting them by receiving worship from them. And when he's accepting worshipping, he has to be with them. He has to be like them. That's why he wear all those, snakes in his head, and his attire is very scary. Not that he doesn't have place to live, he is living in Himalayas. Durga Devi herself is his wife, who is creating this entire material world. So can't she make one small house for Shiva also? And she can, but he doesn't want. And we also have, Lord Shiva is one personality. We also have the personification of Lord Shiva in our own personal life. Srila Prabhupada. He lived in 1965 with hippies. Like Lord Shiva living with all those people. Yes. And he's destroying the ego. He's destroying with the ego with his pen. So Prabhupada is destroying the ego of everybody in this world by his pen, by writing his books. So in a way, when we read Prabhupada's books, when we pray to him, please remove my ego. If you see every page, Prabhupada will say, you are a servant of Krishna. You are not this body. Why Prabhupada is saying every time in each purport, practically you are not this body, you are Krishna's servant. It's directly hitting on the ego. Destroying our ego. So that auspicious can be brought out. So these are a few points just wanted to share. Anybody have any other points, discussion, anything anybody would like to say?
It's such an Indian perspective to see Srila Prabhupada saving the hippies, hippie lecture Shiva.
The ghosts and
The ghosts and goblins. That's true. That's completely true. Yeah, it's interesting. There's one thing in all those verses again and again and again, you say partial, partial, partial. So I was wondering what partial means. Each of the verses,
Yeah.
partial manifestation
Amshena.
of Nitya and partial representation of the Lord Shiva, partial, of Prajapati and partial each time around. Yeah,
One understanding is,
we are part and partial of Krishna, like,
yeah.
all that partial.
You're wondering what is this partial here?
Yeah.
So partial means the part of Krishna's power is manifesting through that personality.
Mm.
Like we have Satyavesha Avtara, different kinds of incarnation of Krishna. When in specific power of Krishna flow through that person. Like Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation of Krishna. In that way, he's not really incarnation, but he's a personality who's been invested with the power of Krishna to educate people and to write books and to give shastras. A specific power of evacuating, specific power of those functions is being given to those demigods. If we see the in each of the partial form with its partial power of understanding, partial organ of evacuation. So it means that the power to do that specific function is being invested by the Lord in those demigods.
So it's not fully coming from themselves,
It's not coming from them.
that's what that indicates. That the powers are being disseminated to them.
Yes, being given to them. Yes.
Yeah, like a part of the whole.
Yes.
Amshena. Amshena.
Amsha, part of Krishna. Is giving that
Amshena means part of Krishna.
Amsha. Yeah.
Oh,
Amsha.
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 What's Amsha?
Amsha means the part. Swamsha, Vivinna Amsha.
Oh, Swa.
Vivinna Amsha. Swa Amsha.
So Amshena
Amsha.
is partial. It's like a part
Yes.
of Krishna. Oh. Like expansion.
Like an expansion of that power.
Expansion of the power of
Because Krishna has multiple facets. Which part of Krishna is manifesting through that personality? Krishna's power of protection manifesting with this hand of Indra. That's the head of demigods. Krishna's power of his mind, ability to think, ability to feel is coming from invested in the moon. Things like that. The Krishna's ability to understand his whole world is manifesting through Brahma, funneling down to us.
Amshena, partial
So-
empowerment.
Partial empowerment. So everybody can be specifically empowered in a particular way. That is empowerment. That is Amshena, giving. And also, in this, we can have a very practical application. I was just thinking of hitting on the ego. Hitting specifically because the root cause of everything is ego, false ego. If we remove that, you see, in our subtle body, we cannot live without mind. We cannot live without intelligence, but we can live without false ego. We can't live without body. We can't live without mind. We can't live without intelligence, but we can live without false ego.
You mean as we are embodied, so.
As embodied soul in this body,
in the condition of the world, we, because we are embodied with subtle and gross body, so that's our existence
Yes,
in
yes.
the condition of life.
Yes.
But the one thing that can be destroyed
is false ego.
by Shiva
For
is
sure.
false ego.
Yes.
But the rest, we need it.
Yes.
It's just purified and spiritualized.
So now the direct attack on the false ego can give us the maximum advancement. The direct attack on the false ego can give us the maximum advancement.
Strategy.
That's a nice this.
Let's do it. Let's expose ourselves.
Explode our false ego. So interestingly, in all other aspects of devotional service, our false ego can be fed,
Can be,
can become fattened.
yeah,
We-
fed.
Yeah, we
We
can
can
feed,
feed
we can
our
feed our false ego
false ego.
through all the aspects of devotional service.
All of them.
By doing kirtan, by doing cooking, by doing so many things.
Class.
I am there, I'm a good devotee, I'm a good book distributor, I'm a good cook, I'm this, I'm that. So we can feed that. So instead of growing in bhakti, we can actually go down in bhakti, sometime with bhakti also. So it is only chanting is one such thing wherein we can't really show to people. Externally we can show, but internally we cannot show to anybody. In what mood you are chanting, that is the heart of Krishna consciousness. Even during kirtan, we can, oh, how nicely I'm chanting, how nicely I'm jumping, everybody's singing or not, and how nicely I'm playing mridanga and things like that. Still, that false ego can come into the play. But during japa, when you're by yourself, internally, you're not showing to anybody. So, in that way, the maximum amount of advancement can come through chanting, provided there's a trick to it. And the trick is, if you see the prayers, because chanting is a form of prayers, we have been reading Damodarastakam in the Kartik time. How does the Damodarastakam prayer starts? Namami Ishwaram. Namami Ishwaram, Satchidananda Rupa. So namami means I'm paying obeisances to you. I'm surrendering onto you. I'm paying obeisances to you. Namami. So means I am accepting I am your servant. Ishvara. And who are you? You are Ishvara. The foundation of those prayers itself, I am your servant, you are my master. Namami Ishvara. That's what it means. Namami, I am paying obeisances because I am your servant, and you are Ishvara. Namami Ishvara. So this foundation is so important that if we have any prayer based upon on this foundation, then we can properly pray.
Mm.
And how we can apply that in chanting? I'm chanting the prayers. So who am I? Am I thinking I'm this body and chanting as a body? Am I thinking I'm a mind and chanting like a mind? No. That time we can activate the specific ego of a japa activity. That I'm servant of the holy name. So me as a soul, I'm a servant of holy name. So if we activate consciously that particular ego, Namami, I am a servant of holy name. And who is the receiver of my service? Nama Prabhu, the holy name. So, and what is a seva? So if there is a sevak, there's a seva, there's a sevya. Sevya means the who is receiving seva. What is a seva happening? Chanting and hearing become the seva. When we chant and when we hear, that becomes the seva. So we can apply this 3S formula of practically applying these specific words of false ego is that I can become sevak. Holy name is Sevya, and the seva is I'm chanting and hearing. The constant seva is happening. So if we become that I am the sevak, I am the servant of holy name, then we'll do seva to sevya, and what we'll get from that seva? We get prasad. Prasad comes after seva. And what's the prasad we are getting? Any challenges which I am going to get in the whole day, any difficulties I am going to face in the whole day today, I need intelligence to counteract that. I need intelligence to counteract that. And from where intelligence comes?
Lord Brahma,
From where Lord Brahma gets his intelligence?
Vishnu.
Vishnu. And how does Lord Brahma get intelligence from Vishnu? Actually, Brahma never saw Lord Vishnu in that way.
And you really got it from Krishna, isn't it? Because it's the flute.
From Krishna,
Lord
yes.
Vishnu doesn't play.
Flute from where? What is coming from flute? Sound is coming from the flute. So Brahma is receiving intelligence from the sound of flute of Krishna.
And we can too.
We can receive the intelligence from the sound of Hare Krishna Mantra. So it means we can set up, okay, now I have a lot of problems in my life, a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties I am being facing and I will face as the day passes, as the day comes. So I need intelligence to counteract that. And I am going to get that intelligence when we do seva to the chanting. This process is not really become that, it becomes like all pervasive aspect of your whole life, whole day. The intelligence which is required to function in this world is going to come from Krishna in these particular 2 hours. How we do that? So that gives you inspiration, that gives you motivation. Okay, now instead of thinking all of that, I'm going to get solution now. Like in coaching practices, we know some guidance will come, some awareness will rise. It becomes like that. So when we give full attention and we become the servant of holy name, we do that activity of chanting and hearing to the holy name, we are aware of this whole equation, then what is happening? If we don't do that, I am going to take care of my problems. If I say I am going to take care of my problems, then the intelligence has to come from my karma. because intelligence, if we are not devotee of Krishna, how does it come? Comes because of my karma. If I have karma, it will come. If I don't have karma, it will not come. So, but if I remove that false ego, falsity, that I am servant of Krishna, I am part of Krishna, then the intelligence comes from Krishna himself. So in that way, the the real juice of Krishna consciousness, the real water which flourishes all other activities is chanting in the mode of I'm servant, I'm surrendering myself to the holy name, that point of time. That kind of practical application of this process.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. I just had a question about Lord Shiva. So it's auspicious that he destroys false ego. Does he also maintain false ego, and is that auspicious to destroy the truth within the soul? Is, is it both? Like, is it auspicious to maintain false ego?
So you're saying that Lord Shiva destroy false ego, that's why he become auspicious. So does he have to maintain false ego? That is the
Is
question.
that, if he's like maintaining false ego, is that an auspicious activity?
Yeah, maintaining false ego is a kind of inauspiciousness, but because he has completely destroyed his false ego, that is why he is Lord Shiva. So in that way, Lord Shiva does not have any false ego.
Yeah.
That was exemplified in when Daksha cursed Shiva. When there was assembly of all the demigods, Daksha entered, all the demigods stood up in front of Daksha to pay respects to him, but Lord Shiva did not get up. And Daksha felt very offended. He is my son-in-law, why is he not getting up? Sati was a daughter of Daksha and was married to Shiva. In that way, relationship-wise, Shiva becomes the son-in-law of Daksha. But when the son-in-law is not getting up in front of father-in-law, how father-in-law would feel? He felt very offended. And then Daksha cursed Lord Shiva. And when Daksha cursed Lord Shiva, he did not utter a word. He just accepted it. Although he could counteract that. So in that way, this shows that Lord Shiva does not have any false ego. Was that your question?
Well, is Lord Shiva maintaining the false ego in all of the living entities?
Yeah, he's the one who's maintaining it, yes.
And is that an auspicious activity? If he's doing that?
No, he's been given that dirty work of maintaining our false egos.
It's dirty work, and it's auspicious in the sense of like Shiva and Durga, they're the wardens of the prison house. And so, just like the prison, the king or the prime minister has a representative who's director of the university system. So that's right how you're dealing with the scholars, okay. But the director of the prison system is just as dear to the king as the director of the education system. So yeah, so Shiva and his consort Parvati, or Sati, or Durga, Kali, that they're maintaining the prison house, and so yeah, so that's an important service. It's an auspicious service, and we need to deal with those with dirty desires. And then ultimately, it's not like meant for sadistic punishment, but it's meant that the prisoners get rehabilitated and transformed. Yes, let me become a law-abiding citizen and not violate people's rights, because to go to Vaikuntha, whether the geography or the consciousness or Goloka Vrindavan, there's no room there for any false ego to serve Krishna or Vishnu. And so it's so that's our prison. Our false ego is our prison, and Shiva's maintaining that. And then we get like the misery and the suffering and the embarrassment and the shame and the torture of that. And then that's our opportunity. And just like in you need to stay in this cell because we're reciprocating with your desires. So that's our opportunity to go like, all right, let me drop this I need mind project and let me move to namaste, namami swaram. Let me move to that. And so it's auspicious in the same sense that at least ideally, that the prison guards and the warden of the prison house, they're doing an important service for the society, including for the prisoners, for their rehabilitation.
And for the spiritual world. Because nobody can enter the spiritual world with any tinge of false ego. So they are taking a stand. They are just feeding our false ego as long as we want it to be fed. And then, and then also they are taking a stand. Maya Devi, she's always making sure that, even if we are thinking we don't have a false ego, she will test us to the, to the ground to make sure that nobody enters the spiritual world. It's like a protection.
And also the auspiciousness, how it is bringing auspicious by maintaining false ego is that it is Sankarshana who is worshipped by Lord Shiva. So one of the service of Sankarshana to Vishnu, the Sankarshana is doing service to Vishnu, so to Krishna. The service of Sankarshana is to filter out those living entities who are ready to go to Vaikuntha. So in Vaikuntha now we develop a false ego. It has to be changed now. That has to be reformed. So when all those living entities are put into this material world, then the auspicious activity is to churn that living entities out. Like a churning to bring out that nectar. And that destruction happens in this world, which we don't seemingly look at auspicious, but it is auspicious because it is filtering out all those pain, all those that dirty thing, and it is making us ready to get reformed, as Prabhu was saying, so that we can go back to Krishna. In that way, it is also service of Lord Shiva to Sankarshana to help us remove that false ego. So he maintains false ego in a sense that because nobody can handle it, because we have to fall to this world, and in Krishna's local Lord, false ego cannot exist. It has to go somewhere. It came to under the shelter of Lord Shiva. He is maintaining it to destroy it and eventually to help us free from this world.
You great class for a lot of many verses.
Yeah.
It's a good class on.
Because there was no purport for any other verse.
You gave a very fascinating purport to each one. That's my comment.
Yes, for sure. Fascinating the world.
And yes, so I was whenever you first started speaking about, it's like, oh, we're meant to meditate on Radha Krishna, and then so why so many descriptions of the Virat Rupa? It's like, and I was and in that discussion, and then you're describing how like the Virat Rupa, it's like closer to us. It's like, Radha Krishna is so advanced, so esoteric, so far away that it's like, well, Virat Rupa is kind of more interested in talking about genitals. We're talking about the evacuating organs. Like we can more on our level or whatever. And I was at first I was thinking, well, actually, sometimes these descriptions of the Virat Rupa seem further away. Like, oh, I would, Radha Krishna, in the forest, but like, this seems, especially from my scientific conditioned mind of like how the universe was created, my conditioning that I received from school, society, that these descriptions of Virat Rupa are actually seem further away and not really closer to me. And then whenever you were describing about how this Virat Rupa is like an interface for us, because we don't have we're spiritual beings, so we don't have a material interface, and so this is like Krishna providing the material interface for us to interact. And that was, it was clicked, that was, really appreciated that. And then also, I feel like I got a more complete understanding from your class of like, so of creation, of like Krishna is manifesting Virat Rupa intelligence. He's giving a portion of his intelligence, so then that we have intelligence. He's giving a portion of, through these demigods, he's empowering them with a part of him, so then that we have that ability also. So it was helpful for me in my understanding of creation.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And also, there was another description of Virat Rupa, at how these trees, we walk in the nature, these trees are compared to the hairs on Virat Rupa's body. So if some bug walks on our body, how do we feel? We can sense that bug, right? Somebody's walking on our body, somebody walking through our hairs. So when we are walking nature of Krishna, actually we're walking on Krishna's hair, we're walking on Krishna's skin. So Krishna is feeling us. So we can feel that, yes, Krishna is touching me. I'm touching Krishna in that way. I'm touching Krishna's hair. That is a description given in Bhagavatam.
Tree huggers, hug tree, like hug Krishna.
Yeah, because connecting to nature, one part of Krishna.
Last night, the other says Krishna's nature, whose nature it is.
Yes, Krishna's nature, as Prabhu was explaining yesterday. And also in each element we can meditate on Krishna. Like earth, we can meditate on Krishna. Earth gives us grounding effect. Earth is very grounding. It settles down. So when we touch Krishna, we also feel grounded. We're so grounded when we are chanting Krishna's name, when we are Krishna's consciousness. It's very grounding. Like water, it flows. The nature of water is to flow. So the Krishna heart also flows towards his devotees. It's flowing. Like the air. Air is everywhere. So Krishna is also everywhere. Like the fire. Fire burns. Krishna says, Nama Jnana Agni Dagdha Karmanam. The Agni of Jnana burns the impurities. And the fire is burning the impurities. The knowledge of Krishna is also burning impurities in our heart. Like space, everything is held in the space. And Krishna is holding all the entire material, like a pearl, like a thread in an entire pearl. Like how he's holding the pearl, like a thread, as a thread. So each element of our Panchtattva also we can meditate on Krishna. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, like this.
What's ether?
Ether is a space.
Yeah.
Space is holding everything. So Krishna is holding everything. Like a string is holding the pearl.
It's on the air, which is all pervading.
All pervasive. And he's all pervasive. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. We'll conclude here. Granthashna Bhagavatam ki Bhagavad ki.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, it was very fascinating.
Yeah,
Very fresh and fascinating.
yes, I'm mind blown and transported. I want to hear the recording and share it with my husband.
Expanding class.
Yes.
Prabhupada purports are expensive.